All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is April 4th. We got a bunch of MLB games to jump into today. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. We had a great night last night. 4-2-1. We had a huge plus money play of the Twins run line, -1.5 for plus 135. Then we also had the Royals money line for plus 124. So yeah, the fireworks were going off last night, guys. Great night. Still only one non-profitable night on the MLB this season thus far. I don't know how long this dumb brain can keep that up, but very excited to jump into today's slate. We do have a little friend here because we're still in the echoey, empty room, so we do have this little mic here. Hopefully it sounds okay. We used it in the NBA video as well, so hopefully it works for this, guys. And yeah, let me know what you think of the video and the format. I know I keep harping on this, guys, but I do want to make these MLB videos as perfect and as digestible and just as enjoyable and entertaining as possible, all while hitting our picks. No kidding. But yeah, still the question is, do we go through and do I make a really quick video on 3 bullet points as to why this pick is my pick, this pick is my pick, and this pick is my pick? Or do you guys like me going through the entire slate? Sometimes it's a longer video, but if you like longer videos, that's probably your more cup of tea. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, guys, of the two sort of video format styles. Today we're going through each and every game. I'll give you my lean on, the money line, the run line, the total. But my final plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with tonight, what we count towards our record, that will be in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, let's go ahead and hit that like button out the park. We hit our picks out the park last night. Let's see if you guys can step up to the plate, hit that like button, and hit for the cycle. Let's jump into it. We got the Padres taking on the Diamondbacks here. Padres -137 on the money line right now. Total is at 7 runs here in this one. On the mound for the Padres, you have Yu Darvish and then Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks in this one. I do think that this one has a little value of San Diego on the money line here, winning 5-4 yesterday. I do think that, -137 isn't all that crazy of odds here. I mean, it's pretty much stayed the same since opening as well. So I'm going to look at San Diego on the money line. And then in terms of the total, I think 7 just seems a little bit too low for this one. There is wind blowing out from home plate as well, so we could see a couple different home runs jump out the park there. So I'm going to lean towards San Diego money line and then also the over in this one, over 7. I don't necessarily see much value in terms of run line within this game. Moving on, we got the Reds taking on the Cubs here. The Reds 3-1 on the season. Cubs 1-3 on the season. Right now, Reds plus 117 on the money line. Total sitting at 9 runs right now. Yesterday, Cincinnati won this one 7-6. I thought this game was going to end up going under. We didn't end up making it a final play, but I did think that this one was going under. Glad we didn't pull the trigger on that. That's a 13-point total there. Overton, neither Overton or Smiley really pitched all that well. That was our nerfy of the day as well. So it's actually, sorry, I'm going to take a second. We are over on TikTok doing our player props and whatnot as well. So if you're looking for player props, check out my TikTok. It is in the description. It's also just Ev Singleton, my name there. But we had this as our nerfy of the day for plus money, and they scored 6 runs in the first inning. So yeah, dummy up in here. Anyways, back to this game. Neither pitcher pitched well yesterday. I do think that there's probably going to be some better pitching today. Seth's on the mound and Wisniewski. I do think that, this is a game in which Chicago probably bounces back, so I'm going to lean towards Chicago on the money line. I don't love run line, even though some of that odds is looking pretty good. When I say odds, I just mean odds. I'm making up my own words out here. But I'm going to lean Chicago money line. And in terms of a total, I'm looking at the under. Now, you can call me crazy, but I still do think yesterday was more of an anomaly here for these two teams. Again, prior to that game, Chicago had scored 4-1, 5, Cincinnati 4-6, 3, and then they both go off and score 7 and 6 runs. I don't know if they do that again, so I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, Miami taking on the Twins. Twins money line plus money today, guys, and we are going to pull the trigger. I gotta be loyal. I'm betting with this today in this big old gut, not necessarily in my head, but actually I do think that this is a good spot for the Twins. So I make that joke, but I think Twins plus 127 on the money line is going to be my lean. In terms of a total here, 7 runs seems a little bit too low for me, but that being said, Miami only scored 1 run yesterday. So if you take out the anomaly, I guess, of Minnesota dropping 11 runs, I don't necessarily know know if that is an absolute lock of an over. That being said, I'm still leaning that way. I could see this being a 5-3 type game, so I'm going to lean Minnesota here on the money line, not the run line, unless I change my mind throughout the day, which is what the pinned comment is for. But right now, I think you're getting good value in Minnesota. Whether or not it becomes a final play, keep an eye on the pinned comment. I swear I'm not just going to bet Minnesota if they won us yesterday. You know what I mean? If they just hit for us yesterday, that doesn't mean I'm just going to bet them today. I'm kind of kidding about that. I do think that there's some value in this play, though. So Minnesota money line and the over. Moving on, we got the Yankees taking on the Phillies. Right now, Yankees minus 149 on the money line. Total sitting at 8.5. They played yesterday. New York won this one 8-1. I think that the only value play in this one is going to be New York minus 1.5 here on the run line for plus 135 odds. I don't think that the minus 149 is really worth it for the money line here. Philly, I definitely can't trust. They're yet to win a game this season, so I'm going to lean Yankees here run line. And again, that's plus 135 odds. And in terms of the total, 8.5 seems like New York has a really good ability to get this going and do it themselves. So I'm going to lean New York here, I'm going to lean the over here, hoping that the Yankees truly do continue to catapult these total scores. Nationals taking on the Rays here. Nationals plus 158 at home. Total is sitting at 9 right now. Tampa Bay looking decent yesterday for the most part. This is a game that pushed for us. We did have the over. It was like Tampa Bay 4-0 for the longest of times. Finished at 6-2. We had the over 8 runs. I think this Tampa Bay team is a little bit too much for the Nationals to handle, so I am going to lean towards Tampa Bay. Minus 1.5 on the run line is the lean, just because of the value. We don't have any value on the money line, minus 172, so I'm leaning minus 1.5 here on the Rays run line, but to be completely honest, I don't think that becomes a final play. I think that this game, at least the latter half of yesterday's game, shows that these bats on the Washington side can kind of keep up with Tampa Bay. Even though it's a very, very minimal sort of sample size, I am going to lean Tampa Bay minus 1.5. I don't totally love it. In terms of the total 9, I don't know where I come out on this either, guys. I hate to do it to you. At least it's not the first game of the video, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. This game really does puzzle me, so I'm going to stick away from the total here. Gun to my head, I lean under. Gun to my head. So if I put this in a final play, either I feel really strongly about it or there's something to my head. But let's move on here. We got the Red Sox taking on the Pirates. Red Sox minus 133 here, money line. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Sox. Total sitting at 9 runs. Yesterday, Pittsburgh pulls this one out 7-6, and these Red Sox continue to score runs. I'm going to look at the over in this game first and foremost in terms of a lean. I think it's pretty silly to be looking at unders when you look at this Red Sox team. As of right now, we'll see in a month or a couple weeks, things might change. But as of right now, you got to be looking at the over here. And in terms of the gameplay, I do think the Red Sox bounce back in this one, minus 133. I think at parts of yesterday's game, they look like the clear-cut better team, but Pittsburgh just scored more runs than them yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards the Red Sox, my hometown team, and the over in this one. Guys, before we get into the rest of the slate, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. There's also a thanks button, which is pretty much a tip button if you are enjoying these videos and you do want to just, quickly contribute and support and donate to the channel. That would be much appreciated. And then we also have our member program. We call you guys the Ballers. We got a bunch of you guys in there as of right now. Make sure to hit that join button. We're pushing out models for the NBA, player props, spread total, everything like that. And we're working on an MLB model as well that I plan to do a video for Ballers only, for members only, on how to create that model or a similar model. So if you do want to, support the channel, make sure you do hit that join button. $2.99 a month. That is all it takes to get access to a bunch of stuff. That's the first and foremost reason, if you want to support the channel. But if you do want access to the models and whatnot as a secondary sort of option in your research, make sure to do that as well, guys. Much appreciated. All right, let's move on. We got the Brewers taking on the Mets here. Brewers plus 145 on the money line. And it's kind of shocking to me. Yesterday, 10-0 Brewers was the final score. I know that these Mets teams, or I guess this probably comes down to the pitching, if I'm being honest. Scherzer versus Miley here, which is why there's money line. But I think there might be a little bit of value here in Brewers plus 1.5. You have minus 120 in terms of odds. So I would say Mets money line is like the play. But then in terms of where you're looking at the money and the odds here, I think that you might have some value in terms of Brewers plus 1.5 at minus 120. I think they can keep it close. They showed their bats can go off yesterday. I know baseball's different. It's not just a trend sport. You have different pitchers, yada, yada, yada. I completely understand that. But 10 runs is 10 runs. Call me crazy, right? So I do think that that could be a spot for us here. In terms of a total 8 runs, I think this one goes over. We saw it hit over yesterday, and that was Milwaukee doing all of the lifting. Literally all the lifting. New York got shut out. I think they only had like 3 or 4 4 hits as well. So I am going to lean towards the over in this one. I think both teams can kind of get it going. All right, moving on, we got the Royals taking on the Blue Jays. Royals plus 148 at home here. They cashed for us last night. We had them as money line dogs there. Totals at 9.5 runs. I immediately look at the under there. This is a high-scoring game yesterday, but I don't necessarily think that either of these offenses truly have that sort of consistent scoring in them. Before that, we saw Toronto score 4 runs and 1 run, and Kansas City hadn't scored a run until their 3rd game of the season, in which they scored 4 runs. So I think that looking at a 9-5 game yesterday, I think the books overreact a little bit. I'm going to lean towards the under. It's also a plus money play, plus 108 on books right now to take that under. And then in terms of a game pick here, I do think that Toronto bounces back in this one. I'm going to lean Toronto money line. Unfortunately, you're going to have to pay a little bit of juice if you do like that. But I think Toronto says, oh man, we could have won that game. We were a little bit better yesterday, and we just didn't play better. All right, Cardinals taking on the Braves in this one. Cardinals minus 133 money line at home here. Total at 9 runs. Yesterday, the Cardinals lose this game. Atlanta 8 runs, St. Louis 4 runs. This Atlanta team doesn't really look fadeable at this point. They are plus 123 on the money line here. That's obviously a pitcher's duel type of, or a pitcher sort of matchup here. But I do think that this Braves offense has looked good, with the exception of that one last game that they played in their series against, I believe it was the Nationals, right? So I'm going to lean towards the Braves here, money line plus 123. I think it's a decent spot for them. And then in terms of a total, I don't hate the over in this one either. We've seen this Braves team, again, put up a bunch of points. The St. Louis team showed yesterday that they can put up, at least 4 points or so. So I'm going to lean towards that. I think they had like a couple 9-run games or one 9-run game this season already on the St. Louis side of things. So I don't hate that either. Texas taking on the Orioles here. Rangers minus 125 money line, total at 8.5. Yesterday when these two teams played, Baltimore won this game 2-0. Now this was a game in which we had the over. And if you're asking yourself, oh, well, did you win because you had the over of 1.5? No, we had the over of like 8.5, and they didn't come anywhere close. I do think I still like that over today. I'm a psycho, I get it. Plus, over 8.5 is going to be one of my leans here. There is 18 mile-an-hour winds blowing directly from home plate out into the outfield. So I don't hate that whatsoever here. I do think that this is the type of game where, the 2 runs yesterday, everyone's like, oh, these 2 teams can't score runs. It's like, well, did you look at their first series when both of them were popping off? So I really like the over here. And then in terms of a side of things, I'm going to lean towards Texas here. I can't believe they scored 0 runs yesterday. So I'm going to lean towards Texas. I think that they bounce back in a big way. Texas money line. Houston taking on Detroit here. Houston minus 280 on the money line. Obviously, we throw that out. In fact, the only thing we would look at is the off chance that Detroit could win this game, and it's plus 249. I don't think I trust that, though. So if anything, we're looking at Houston minus 1.5 on the run line here, and it's minus 140. I don't even like those odds. So I'm sticking away from a side in this game. 7.5 is the total. Yesterday, when they played, it was 7-6. Detroit won that game. Kind of the reason why I don't like the money line today. Like, do they really steal the first 2 against Houston? But I do like the over in this game, over 7.5. That is the favorite, minus 115 right now in terms of odds. So I think Vegas aligns with that as well. All right, the A's taking on the Guardians here. Athletics plus 175 at home. Total at 7 runs right now. On the mound for the A's, Sears and then Bieber on the mound for the Guardians. This is another game we had the under yesterday. So we had the under, and they scored 12 runs. Oh no, that was just Cleveland, 12 runs. So what did Oakland score? Well, let me tell you, Ev, you're an idiot because you had the under, and Oakland scored 11 runs. So both teams' individual totals runs scored here would have beat the under that I had. So luckily, we smashed all of our other plays. But this in the Baltimore game, Jesus, did I pick those games blind? Like, are you kidding me? But guys, in this one, I do think that the Guardians are the play here. Unfortunately, the money line is too much money. I'm going to lean towards the under here, though. I know I just gave myself crap for it, but I still do think that these two offenses aren't all that great, especially the Oakland offense. So I'm going to lean towards the under, and then also Guardians here, minus 1.5 on the run line because the money line isn't worth it. We'll see if that becomes a final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. All right, Seattle taking on the Angels here. Seattle 1-4 in the season. Angels 3-1 in the season. Minus 165 at home are the Mariners here. They caught the L yesterday. The Angels won 7-3 here. Hit them all up and down the ballpark here. I do think that continues again. I just wish that we had even bigger money here because I think it's a good spot for the Angels. At least offensively, Luis Castillo on the mound for Seattle. I guess a little bit worrisome, but plus 152 on the money line. I think it's too much value to pass up when this Angels team is playing good baseball. So I'm going to lean towards Angels here, plus money on the money line. And then in terms of the total, 7.5 is what it is right now. I do think that this game goes over. I think that both these teams can either score runs or have bad sort of defensive days. So I think that, if we're getting plus money, plus 105 on the over here, I think that there's some value there. So both picks in that game, or both leans, I should say, are plus money leans. And then our last game of the night, we got the Dodgers taking on the Rockies here. Rockies underdogs big time in this one. Yesterday, LA won 13-4. I'm glad we hit the Rockies when we did, because they have not really done much ever since. Right now, Dodgers minus 250 money line at home. Total is at 7.5 runs. The run line for the Dodgers doesn't even seem worth it. Minus 141 to me. Hopefully that moves down, because that would be the lean here. The only lean that I would have is going to be the over 7.5. I think that this Dodgers team can obviously put up a bunch of runs themselves if they need to. And we've seen this Colorado team put up 4 runs in multiple games this season, which really is all we would ask for if we have a 7.5 line here. If the Colorado can score 3 to 4 runs, I think we're looking at a winner. Guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Again, let me know in the comments what you think of the video formats. Hopefully you guys do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.